money has always been a private matter. And as we've all, Americans especially, have been raised to believe that you really don't bring up the topics of sex, politics, religion, or money in polite society. Stewardship becomes an extremely difficult situation, an extremely difficult thing to think about, because it takes two of the things that we're uncomfortable talking about, namely religion and money, and wraps them both into one neat package. And this is kind of a burden we have to shoulder as a congregation and as individuals. That being said, it came to my attention through readings and research and some prayer and thought that I've had on the subject in the last year, that I'm very much inclined to think of a congregation as a call to discipleship rather than a membership. We're called to be disciples, not members. And we're charged with the Great Commission to go out into the world. And by doing so, we bring people to Christ. And that being said, it becomes important, I think, to remember that to me, one of the most important things, and really struck a chord with me, is Jesus saying very literally that you cannot serve two masters. That at some point you will learn to love one and despise the other. And what he was referring to was literally wealth and God. So if we take that as a frame of reference and move forward to the point where we say we have to be true to one or the other, we have to either rely on ourselves and our own insight, or we have to trust in God in order to move forward as Christians, as individuals, and in our faith. Our faith is thereby enhanced by putting more trust in God and less trust in ourselves, which is a very uncomfortable thing. And I think stepping into that world is in itself as big a leap of faith, or a step of faith, as our initial commitment at our baptismal vows that we made in the past. And our financial commitment is our way, therefore, to be able to set aside money as something that drives us, something that can get in the way of our understanding and our trust and our faith in God. So on a congregational basis, I think by doing so, it opens up not only in terms of treasure, but time and talent. I think there's a need for the congregation to step twofold, not only from a congregational standpoint, but from the surrounding community, that it gets back to the Great Commission, that time and talent should not only be used to make money so we can give money to the church, but I believe time and talent should also be used or utilized to carry out the Great Commission of bringing others to Christ, which is a twofold benefit. We don't each have to feel that we have to increase the size of the pie that we contribute if we can bring 6 more slices of pie to the table. So as being a person that would be charged with going out and bringing people to God, I think a lot of those problems that today's churches and congregations face could be eliminated if we go back to the guidelines that were given us 2,000 years ago. It's not about eking out another 0.5%. It's about bringing another person to Christ, and their multiplying benefits and the people they can bring at some point will overcome what any of us individually can do. And I think that in itself not only helps from a congregational standpoint, but at some point helps the universal church as a whole. I think the next step for us is to go beyond the monetary budget concerns and go more towards the model of basing our stewardship on a scriptural foundation as opposed to a budgetary restrictive foundation.
We're not the church that we were 5 years ago. We have changed considerably through our outreach programs, and I think that's a big part of the stewardship program, is that we begin now because of our outreach year-round, that we talk about stewardship year-round. And we know that through our activities, people see where their money goes. The money that goes to the parish just doesn't pay an anonymous bill from somewhere that they never see. They see it translated into food on a Saturday feeding ministry, or they see it as a trip to Food Finders in Lafayette to get food for our food pantry on Wednesdays. They get a chance to see where their money goes. We ask our parishioners to work toward the tithe, and we as a body, we as the body of Christ, should also do that. So we communicated that to the congregation, and they know that a tenth of what they give is going to be given away through our program. So it was a gradual change, and it took us a few years to get there, but we've been doing it now for, I think, two or 3 years. When we got the endowment, it was unrestricted originally, and the group that came together when we got the endowment, we formed an endowment committee, and that endowment committee was tasked with putting together a process that we go through to spend that money. That money, half of it, we decided would have to go to outreach. I've noticed in the last year or so that we have definitely become a church of invitation, and many of our members feel comfortable in going out and inviting people to church, inviting people to a food drive, inviting people to a tailgate party, or helping with school supplies. And through those invitations, we have attracted new members. When we feed or clothe or give school supplies to people, we don't expect those people to come back and sit in our pews. But what we have discovered is that through food drives, and Martin's Supermarket has been a great help to us with that. We get out into the community and people see us doing things, and then they say, "What are you doing?" And we tell them, and they go, "Oh, we'd like to get involved with that." And many of our couples and many of our new members have come via new programs that we've done, or they've seen us out in the community doing activities and want to be a part of that. I think that the biggest part of stewardship is the giving part of stewardship. We found ourselves growing when we gave. When we gave to the community, we got so much back in return. And that's the same way with stewardship, and it's the same way with your envelopes that you get every week. When you give, much will be received back, and we have seen that in action. As I said, that money just doesn't go to some anonymous bill that's being paid somewhere. They see their stewardship dollars being put into action. Yes, we do pay the light bill, we do pay the gas bill, but we also feed. And with somebody's pledge, somebody's stewardship dollars, we can feed many, many families, as well as keep the lights on at Trinity. And that's what our congregation sees. So they see their money being used for what it's intended to be used for. And that, I think, it helps people when they write that check, when they fill out that pledge card, when they leave us as a beneficiary in our will. Just this past month, we've had 2 parishioners pass, and unbeknownst to us, we were beneficiaries in their will, and that's translated into dollars that we can now use, again, to feed, clothe, and to supply an awful lot of families in Logansport. So there's an awful lot of different levels of giving. We hear about time, treasure, talents. Treasure definitely is a big part of that, and nobody likes to talk about money, but we all know that we have to keep the lights on. We also know that money can be used for much more other things than just keeping the lights on. And that's where I think we've made that leap at Trinity.